All right, you welcome great leaders. This moment, we will be talking about cultures, organizational culture. Like in the last video, we've made summary of some of the things that we were able to learn in the past. And this is going to be like a second phase of our leadership journey. And so this second phase, I implore you, I request that you follow through so that we can be on board on this journey. Here, our focus will be on organization, our leading influence through our organizations. That's the sphere where we exert our leading functions. In the past, in the phase one of our leadership lessons, we focus so much on the leader, who the leader is, and so forth and so on. But this season, we will be focusing on the leader's influence regarding the environment where he serves. All right, so we will be focusing on that. And that environment where he serves, the sphere of his leadership function is important. Very, very important. How he leads, how people respond to his leadership is very critical. And for that, because of it, we will start with culture, creating a thriving culture. Every leader, both known and unknown issues, he walks through the organization and the people to create, to cultivate, to craft a thriving culture for the organization. And this is important. And when we talk about culture, what is culture? Culture is those unspoken or spoken, self-sustaining ways of thinking, of believing, and behaving within an organization or a ministry sphere. That's culture. They may be spoken, they may be unspoken. They may follow a pattern or norms. Those aspects where they show how people respond emotionally within the organization, and how people respond in every other aspect, in any way within the organization. So cultures impact on people's belief. We see culture in the way people believe, respond, or talk, in the way people think within the organization, and in the way people behave within the organization. And so those unspoken scenarios, those hidden, very hidden prompts that make people behave certain ways within that setting is what culture is all about. And people respond to it, knowingly or unknowingly. People respond to it, intentionally or unintentionally. People respond to it. And in every setting or sphere, it is important to intentionally create a thriving culture where the motivation is high, where people can thrive. It's important. As a leader, you may be creating a toxic culture without knowing it. And it affects on the productivity of the organization. You might also be creating a thriving culture. We call it thriving because if the environment is inviting, if it's motivating and makes people more enthusiastic, then it's a thriving culture. So you can also create a thriving culture intentionally or unintentionally, based on how you have been able to walk yourself through and develop your leadership capacities when it has to do with relating with people and exerting your leadership influence. And so in this season, we will be talking about how leaders can create a thriving culture. And there are ethos of thriving cultures. And we will be discussing these ethos, different ethos, in our next lessons, one after the other, within days and weeks. And it's important we understand this so that we do not just think we can just do things anyhow and just get the kind of results we expect. Everyone that comes into an organization or a setting has an expectation. Whether the expectation is met or not depends on the culture prevailing in that environment. And if that expectations are not met, the person also, there will be also a responsive norm within the person's emotional capacity to respond to the organization in such ways, thereby creating more shadows and toxic cultures within the setting. And so it's important we understand that. But it's important leaders know, as architects, they can craft a thriving culture for an organization. A great leader is like an architect, like a spider can craft a web. A great leader can craft a thriving culture for the sphere of his leadership influence. And that's a point of note today. And in the next video, we'll start talking about the various ethos of a thriving culture. Cultures set the temperature, they also regulate the temperature. Like a thermometer and thermostat, a culture of an organization sets its temperature and also sets its thermostat, so that people, however people respond, will be based on the temperature and the thermostat. And it's important we understand these things very well. Thank you so much. Let me stop there now. In the next video, we talk more on what culture and how cultures can thrive, how we can create a thriving culture within the spheres of our leadership is influenced. Thank you and God bless you.